Okay, ठीक है. Now the meeting is being recorded. Okay. So this lecture recording and the previous lecture recording will be given to you at the end of this chapter. Okay. I have a YouTube channel and I will upload all the recordings in that. You can watch as per your convenience. Also, you can download the videos in the YouTube app. Okay, but it will be given after the end of the chapter. Okay. So be present for the lectures. Recording चालू आहे म्हणून lecture skip करू नका. Okay. So we are going to start with our third chapter, that is resonant pulse inverter. Okay. So before starting the main point, okay. So in this chapter we are going to study the series resonant inverter with unidirectional and bidirectional switches. Okay. Then we are going to study parallel resonant inverters, then voltage control of resonant inverters. After that, zero current and zero voltage switching resonant converters, and then two quadrant zero voltage source resonant converters, and then resonant DC link inverters, and then the control techniques. Okay, so this much we are going to study in the third chapter. And before starting the series resonant inverter, which is our first point, we are going to have a look on the need of resonant pulse inverter. Okay, why it has been introduced or invented. Okay, so this has been introduced in order to eliminate the disadvantages of PWM switch. Okay, PWM control. Okay, which are going to use as a switching devices. Okay, so there are different disadvantages of pulse width modulation controlled switching devices which are used in converters. Okay, the first one is the devices are turned on or off at the load current with a high di by dt value. Okay, you know this. Okay, you have learned in the first chapter also. And the switching devices in the converters with a pulse width modulation control can be gated. Okay, can be gated to synthesize the desired shape of the output voltage or the output current. Also, these devices are turned on and turned off at a load current. Okay, with having high di by dt value. So the switches are subjected to high voltage stress. Okay, and the turn on and turn off loss could be a significant portion of the total power loss. Okay, and the electromagnetic interference, which is EMI, is also produced due to high di by dt and dv by dt in the converter waveforms. So these are the disadvantages of PWM controlled switching devices which are used in the converter. To overcome these, the resonant pulse inverters are invented. Okay, so this disadvantage can be eliminated or minimized if the switching devices are turned on and off when the voltage across a device or its current becomes zero. Okay, so now the voltage and the current are forced to pass through zero crossing by creating a LC resonant circuit. Okay, which we are going to see in the series inverter. Also, this is called as a resonant pulse converter. And so the need of resonant pulse inverter is to delete or eliminate the disadvantage of PWM control techniques. Okay, which is having the eliminations or limitations while turning on and off. Okay, and then there are different types of resonant converters. Okay, there are 8 types: series, parallel, class E, then class E converter, class E resonant rectifier. Okay, as I said, zero voltage switching, zero current switching, two quadrant ZVS resonant converters, and resonant DC link inverters. Okay, we are going to study all this in our curriculum. So first one, we will start with the series resonant inverter. Okay, so these series resonant inverter produce a near sinusoidal output. Okay, at the output current and depends on load impedances. And this parallel resonant inverter produces a near sinusoidal output current and the output voltage. Okay, which depends on load impedances. So these types of inverters are used in producing high frequency output voltage or output current, and these are often used as an intermediate between DC source and the DC power supply. Okay, so in this case, the voltage is step up with a high frequency transformer and then rectified to a DC power supply. Okay, so these are for the series and parallel, okay, topology. For class E inverter and rectifier, okay, so this class E type inverter and rectifier are used for low power applications. Okay, so the zero voltage and zero current switching converters are having applications where low switching loss, okay, and increased converter efficiency are needed. Okay, where low switching losses and converter efficiency is required to be high. Then these two quadrant ZVS converters can be operated to obtain a two quadrant operation. Okay, and last one, the resonant DC link inverters are used for producing variable output voltage. Okay, while keeping the output waveform in a fixed manner. So as we know that an inverter should convert a DC supply voltage to a near sinusoidal output voltage of a known magnitude and a known frequency. Okay. So now we are going to have a look on the series resonant inverter. These are based on resonant current oscillations, and the resonating components and switching devices are placed in series with the load. Okay, in the diagram we are going to see it. These are placed in the series with the load to form an underdamped circuit. Okay, and the current through the switching devices falls to zero due to the natural characteristics of that particular circuit. So if the switching element is a thyristor, it is said to be self-commutated. For example, in this case, this is a series resonant inverter diagram. Okay, basic circuit diagram. Here we are using either thyristor or IGBT. Okay, so if we are using switching element, so this Q1 and Q2 are used as a switching element. So if this switching element is a thyristor, it is said to be self-commutated. Okay, and now in this case we are going to study with the IGBT. Okay, this is an IGBT. So now I will show you. Okay, so there are two types of series resonant inverter. First one is series resonant inverter with unidirectional switches, and another one with bidirectional switches. So can anyone from you just tell me the basic question regarding the types of unidirectional and bidirectional switches? What are unidirectional switches and what are bidirectional switches? Anybody? This is a basic question, okay, for polytonics. So which devices are unidirectional, which are bidirectional, according to you? Anyone? Anyone, guys? You can turn on your mic and you can just answer it. Anyone? Is it that difficult question? Okay, okay. So, you have given in the chat box. SCR is unidirectional. Okay, you're right. SCRs, thyristors, and GTO, I think. And MOSFET, okay, is bidirectional and diode unidirectional. Okay. Voltage polarity indirectionally. Okay, and triac bidirectional. Okay. Okay, so I will tell you. Your answer is right, no doubt. So devices which are unidirectional are IGBT, thyristors, and GTO. Okay, and the devices which are bidirectional switches are transistor with diodes. Okay, and then triac, and then MOSFET with diode. Okay, so if you add a diode with transistor or MOSFET, it will become bidirectional switch. Okay, so now So there are three types of series resonant inverter with unidirectional switches. Okay, so this has the three types. First one is basic, half bridge. First one is basic, and second one is half bridge, and third one is full bridge. So the half bridge and full bridge are very commonly used, are very popular. Okay, and this basic, okay, type is just for study purpose. Okay, so it has some disadvantages, and it can be overcome by using the different coupling devices. I will show you in the lecture. Okay, so series resonant inverter with unidirectional switches. Okay, so we are using IGBT as an unidirectional switch. Okay, Q1 and Q2 are two IGBTs having gate supply L1 and L2. Okay, this one is, these are the inductors. Okay, these are the RC coupled devices, RNC. Okay, coupled circuit. So it has three mode. Okay, in which first mode is related to Q1. Second one is relevant to both Q1, Q2 off, and third one is relevant to Q3 on. Okay, so we are going to study in a deep manner. Okay, so mode 1 and mode 3 have some derivations, and the derivation will take a lot of time. So I have written the derivation in a PDF here in my notebook, and I will share it to you. Okay, so in the book it is given directly, so you can refer this PDF in the Google Classroom. I will share it, and you can solve it. Okay, you can find out the capacitor voltage and current. Okay, so we will start with the operation of series resonant inverters. Okay, this is the basic circuit diagram. Okay, with having two transistor switches Q1 and Q2. So when transistor Q1 is turned on, a resonant pulse of current flows through the load. Okay, and the current falls to zero at T. Okay, so here I'll show you. This is the different diagram for different mode, and this is the output waveform. Okay, so two IGBTs, so different gates for them, and this is the output current, and this is the voltage across the capacitor. Okay, we have to find out this, okay, output current and also the voltage across the capacitor for mode 1 and mode 3. So now you can see here this T1 is nothing but T1M. Okay, and this is T3M, and this middle one where there is no signal, that is T off or T2. Okay, so this incorporates for mode 1. This little bit one is just for this dead zone is for mode 2, and this negative one, okay, this is for mode 3. Okay, we are going to study each mode one by one. Okay, so operation for this. So now as I said earlier, when Q1 is turned on, a resonant pulse of current flows through the load, and the current falls to zero at T equals to Tm1, means at here. Okay, in this case, and this Q1 is self-commutated. Okay, so now I think here is a mistake. We are using IGBT here, so this sentence should be deleted. Okay, don't take this as a reference. IGBT is not self-commutated. Okay, thyristors are self-commutated. Okay, thyristors and SCRs. So when Q2 is fired, the reverse resonant current flows, okay, through the load, and the series resonant current circuit must be underdamped. Okay, these are the conditions for the series resonant inverter. Okay, where you can see the series resonant circuit. Okay, already you can see is formed by using L and C and the load. Okay, and the load is assumed here to be resistive for purpose. Okay, it is resistive, and this circuit should be underdamped. Okay, so underdamped means what? R square should be less than 4L upon C. This is the condition for underdamping. Okay, so we will start with the mode 1. Okay, so in case of mode 1, Okay, I will show you the basic diagram, then we will go to the mode diagram. Okay. So in case of mode 1, the mode begins with Q1 turned on. Okay. So here, this will be the only circuit. So current will flow from Q1, then your inductor, okay, then capacitor, and so on. Okay. This is the flow of current for the mode 1. Okay, Q1, inductor, capacitor, and resistor. Okay, source voltage, capacitor voltage, and input current. Okay, so now the instantaneous load current for this mode. Okay, so when we solve this circuit, okay, we are going to get this. Okay, so L di by dt plus R1. Okay, Ri1 plus capacitor. Okay, current across the capacitor, the voltage across the capacitor, and place this, okay, current voltage across the capacitor at 0 equals to source voltage. Okay, this is the Kirchhoff's current law. Okay, and at the switching of conditions of I1 0 and Vc should be minus Vc. Okay. While joining the class, please use your college ID. Okay, so कसं होते दर टायमाला ते ऍडमिट करायला लागते. ओके, सगळ्यांनी कॉलेजच्या आयडी वरनच लॉग इन करा, लेक्चर मध्ये इंटरप्ट होते. ठीक आहे. So these are the initial conditions. I1 should be 0 at time 0. Okay, time here is 0, and voltage across the capacitor is 0 minus Vc at time 0. Okay, and this circuit is underdamped. Okay, so now this equation should be solved by using the Laplace transform to find out the current I1 of t. Okay, so here this equation, after applying the Laplace transform, can be written as I1 of t equals to A1 e to the power r upon 2l t sin omega r t. Okay, so this equation here they have given directly in the textbook, but I have solved here. Okay, so I have solved here for mode 1. Okay, so mode 1 will be from 0 to Tm1, T1m. Okay, so now we have to just take the Laplace transform. Okay, and we have to find out. This is a very simple. Okay, no need to explain this. If you have any doubt, you can contact. And this is given. Okay, so we have found out the current I1 of S. Okay, you can see here the current I1 of t. Sorry, I1 of t. Okay, and this equation is equated by A1. Okay, so this is the equation, final equation, equation number 2, which has been found out by applying Laplace transform to this equation. Okay, here you can see. So this derivation you can have a look, and here omega r is the resonant frequency, and omega r value is given already. Okay, and next here this constant A1 can be found out by the initial conditions. Okay, the initial conditions are given here. So di1 upon dt at t equals to 0, okay, equals to Vs plus Vc upon omega RL. So this is your A1. Okay, by using these initial conditions, you can find out the value of A1. Okay, and here in this equation, you have just replaced A1 with this equation, and here this alpha e to the power minus alpha t is nothing but alpha here is r upon 2l. Okay, and next we have to find out the Tm. Okay, the time Tm, which is when the current I1 becomes maximum. Okay, time T1 is nothing but when the current I1 become maximum. So this can be found out by using the conditions. Okay, these are the initial conditions. di1 upon dt equals to 0. Okay, and then we are going to this I have given in the derivation itself. You can see. Okay, you can have a look on here. I have explained all this. Okay, no need to explain this. Okay, I have already solved this, and finally we have find out the Tm. Okay, Tm is nothing but the time when the current I1 of t becomes maximum. Okay, this equation number 4. So equation number 4 and equation number 2 are important. Okay, equation number 2 and 3 both are important as per the, so equation number 1, sorry, 2 or 3 is nothing but the current. Okay, and after finding out Tm, we have to find out the capacitor voltage. So the capacitor voltage, the voltage across the capacitor, I'll show you. You can see here Tm. Okay, time. So to find out the capacitor voltage, we have to integrate the current I1 of t. You can see here this Vc1 of t is the capacitor voltage. So 1 upon C integration of 0 to t I1 of t dt minus this Vc. So after solving this, we are going to have this equation. Okay, so it is also given in the, okay, we have solved this, and lastly we are going to have this equation of Vc1. Okay, and this mode 1 varies from, I will show you, it is valid from 0 to T1m. Okay, and also this mode 1 ends when I1 of t, this I1 of t becomes 0 at T1m. Okay, I will show you this. It will start from 0 to T1. So as soon as your I1 of t becomes 0 at this T1m, the mode 1 ends. Okay, and so this is our voltage across the capacitor. Okay, you can refer the PDF. So now this is for the mode 1. Okay, for gate. So this is the gate pulse of your IGBT number 1. So only for turning on of this IGBT Q1, this mode will exist. Okay, as soon as the gate pulse becomes 0, okay, the mode vanishes. Okay, and we will go on to mode number 2. So in case of mode 2, both Q1 and Q2 are off. Okay, this is the circuit diagram for that mode. So because of this Q1 and Q2 is off, I'll show you. This is the main diagram. Okay, for mode 2, if Q1 and Q2 is off, the circuit only remains is L, okay, then C, then R. Okay, this is what the remain. Okay, so now for this mode is valid from 0 to T2m. Okay, so this is your T2m, this portion, dead portion. Okay, so these are the conditions. Okay, initial conditions in this mode. I2 is 0. Okay, because there is no current at all. Voltage across the capacitor is Vc2 equals to Vc1. Okay, so this is for mode 2 when both are off. Mode 1 is for transistor, sorry, IGBT Q1 is on, and mode 2 is for both the IGBTs are off. Now we are going to have a look on mode 3. Okay, mode 3 is, okay, the triggering of Q2 is on. So the mode 3 begins with Q2 switch on, and after switching on the Q2, a reverse resonant current flows through the load. Okay, so now we can redefine the time origin at t equals to 0 and the beginning of this mode. Okay, the load current. Okay, this mode is also equivalent to the mode number 1. Here we can, okay, find out the current and voltage across the capacitor by using the KCL. Okay, so this is the equivalent circuit. Okay, and this is the KCL rule for this circuit, and by using the initial conditions, okay, we can find out the current I3 of t. In mode 1 it will be I1, in mode 3 it is I3 of t. Okay, I also give this derivation, you can have a look, or also you can solve it on your own because it is similar to mode 1. So after finding out the I3 of t, you can find out the voltage across the capacitor in this mode. Okay, also Vc3 of t you can find out, and this mode will exist from 0 to t3. Okay, for example 0 to t3. Okay, so this is the third mode in which Q2 is turned on and a reverse resonant current flows through the load. So by this we are going to have a obtainment of reverse current, reverse sinusoidal. So as you can see here, this is not a perfect sinusoidal. Okay, there is a dead zone here. So this is just a basic series inverter, resonant inverter for study purpose. Okay, this can be made effective by adding some components. I will show you. So this is your I3 and Vc3, current across the voltage, current and voltage across the capacitor. Okay, so now you can also find out after finding out this both, finding out the capacitor voltage Vc3, you can also find out the steady state values, by using Vc and Vc1. Okay, so now this equation, last equation, indicates that under steady state conditions, the peak value of positive current, the peak value of positive current in I1 of t and of negative current in I3 of t through the load are the same. Okay, so this equation indicates that the load current I1 of t must be 0 and Q1 must be turned off before Q2 is turned on. Okay, this is the phenomenon regarding the dead zone. Okay, so here, so we have to avoid a short circuit across the main DC supply. For that purpose, Q1 must be turned off before Q2 is turned on. Okay, you can see here, this is the dead zone or dead time. Okay, here there is nothing turned on. So before turning on Q2, we have to turn off Q1. Okay, so because otherwise short circuit will occur, and this is known as dead zone, and this must be greater than the turn off time of the thyristor, transistor. Okay, so you can see here, this off time must be longer than turn off time of the thyristor, TQ. Okay, you can see here, turn off time of thyristor is less than this turn off time, and the maximum possible output frequency is FO. Okay, it should be less than equal to F max, which is 1 upon 2 pi, T of plus omega upon R, pi upon R. So now this resonant, I will show you again. This circuit is a very basic and simple circuit. Okay, it gives the basic concept and it describes the characteristic equations, which can be applied to other types of resonant inverters. So now the power flow from the DC supply is discontinuous in this case of inverter. So the DC supply has we already know that the DC supply has a high peak current and it contains harmonics. Okay, so an improvement of this basic inverter, you can see it in figure, can be made if the inductors are closely coupled. So we have to use, as here we can see, the inductors are not coupled. So after by using the coupled inductors, we can remove the disadvantages of this. Okay. So in this case, when we use the coupled inductors, so when Q1 is turned on and current I1 of T begins to rise or increase, the voltage across the capacity, so the voltage across inductor L1 is positive, and the induced voltage and L2 will add to the voltage of capacitor in reverse biasing, okay, of Q2. So the Q2 can be turned off. So this topology result, the result of this topology is that the firing of any one transistor or IGBT turns off the other, okay, even before the load current reaches to zero. And in the output, we will be able to get zero dead zone, okay. So that will be the advantage of these coupling inductors, okay. So today we have seen the basic series inverter, okay, the three modes of operation and the dead zone, okay, and also the disadvantages and drawbacks of this series resonant inverter, okay. I hope you have understood the basic concept, and in the next lecture we are going to study the parallel resonant inverter and also the different, okay. So today we have studied with bidirectional switches, okay. In the next lecture we are going to study, sorry, today we have studied with unidirectional switches. In the next lecture we are going to study with bidirectional switches, okay, by using this IGBT and diode across, okay. So I hope you have understood, and this lecture has also been recorded, so I will post it and you can also refer it if you have missed any content, and you can also use this book for polytonics, okay. This is Muhammad Rashid, and our chapter is chapter number 7 in this case, okay. So you can refer this, and also refer this PDF, okay, where I have solved the derivation for finding out the capacitor voltage and current, okay. So hope you have understood, and if you have any doubt you can ask, and this is from my side. I will stop the lecture here. Okay, you can leave.